You know that feeling, right? You wake up at 6:47 a.m., 7 minutes before your alarm even goes off. Your body just knows. It's been doing this for over 4,000 days, almost 13 years at the exact same company. And you tell yourself it's all for security, a good salary, the health benefits, the stability. But as you're lying there staring at the ceiling, there's this heavy, sinking feeling you just can't shake. Because the truth is, you are caught in a highly sophisticated architecture of financial dependency. Now, this explainer isn't about bad budgeting. This is about a system meticulously designed to keep you exactly where you are. I want you to ask yourself a deeply uncomfortable question. Why are you making more money than your parents ever even dreamed of? Yet somehow you feel more broke than ever. You're a high earner. On paper, you are the definition of success. You've got the title, the car, the house, but at the end of the month, the math simply doesn't add up. Your stress hasn't gone down. It's just scaled up with your income. I really want to validate that feeling for you right now because it is absolutely not a coincidence. It is by design. Get this. Over 60% of professionals couldn't sustain their current lifestyle for more than a single month without a paycheck. Just think about that for a second. You are literally 1 month away from a complete financial crisis at all times. That is not security. That is a very comfortable, highly decorated prison. You've built a life that requires a constant, uninterrupted stream of paychecks just to keep the lights on. Which brings us to Chapter 1 of our explainer, the illusion of prosperity. You really have to consider the psychological genius of income fragmentation. Let's take a hypothetical worker. We'll call her Sarah. She makes $85,000 a year. That puts her in the top 20% of earners. After taxes, she takes home about $2,458 every 2 weeks. But the system doesn't actually let her choose how to use it. It fragments her money across invisible channels. Rent instantly vaporizes half of it. Then groceries, a car payment, insurance, the phone bill, utilities. By the time the dust actually settles, she's left with exactly $48. Because the money leaves in these small, automated, predictable pieces, her brain never fully grasps that she is just treading water. It's the illusion of prosperity, created entirely through fragmentation. Let's move into Chapter 2, the silent wealth killers. When we look at the data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, it reveals a quiet, systematic theft. Between March 2006 and March 2026, nominal wages, the literal dollar amount printed on your paycheck, grew by 86.5%. So you feel like you're making almost double what you used to, right? But wait. When we adjust for the absolute crime, that is, inflation, the real wage growth, your actual purchasing power, only increased by a microscopic 12.9% over 2 whole decades. You sacrificed 20 years of grueling labor, and the system just ate the vast majority of your progress by jacking up the costs for basic essentials. But here's the really dark part. It's not just the economy working against you. It's your own biology. This is a concept known as hedonic adaptation. See, our brains are hardwired to completely normalize luxury. When you get that $20,000 raise, the initial thrill is intoxicating. But very quickly, your brain adjusts. That new, higher income just becomes your new baseline. The joy fades out, and it leaves behind this continuous, hollow cycle where you're constantly seeking greater pleasures and requiring even higher income just to feel normal again. And that exact biological wiring leads directly to lifestyle creep. You get a job making $60,000, so you upgrade your apartment. You get bumped up to $90,000, so you go out and finance a much nicer car. Every single increase in salary feels like a step toward freedom, but in reality, it functions as a tighter noose of required monthly payments. These are the golden handcuffs. And the crazy thing is, you did this to yourself, driven by social influence and this burning desire to validate your status. Your expenses just expand right alongside your income, locking you perfectly into the trap. Let's break down Chapter 3, the time for money prison. It is a bleak mathematical reality when you really look at it. 5 days of servitude for 2 days of freedom. The modern work week isn't just about productivity. It is designed as a mechanism of total energy depletion. It leaves you with just enough money to survive the month and just enough energy to drag yourself back into the office the next day. It drains your cognitive surplus entirely, so you have absolutely nothing left in the tank to build your own assets. You really need to start viewing your lifespan in 2 distinct categories: indentured time versus free time. Indentured time isn't just those 8 hours you spend sitting at your desk. It's the hour-long commute. It's the morning rush. It's that awful Sunday night dread. And it's the time you spend lying exhausted on the couch just trying to recover. Your free time, that highly elusive weekend, is heavily taxed by the massive physical and mental toll of the work week. Indentured time is the ransom of your free time. I just want to let that harsh truth sink in for a second. Every single hour of freedom you experience on a Saturday was bought and paid for with the stolen life energy of your Monday through Friday. When your time is your primary wealth accelerator, your upside is strictly capped by your own mortality. Which leads us to Chapter 4, the psychology of debt. Debt is not just a financial liability, it is parasitic. When you go out and buy a luxury item on credit just to make yourself feel a little bit better about your stressful job, you aren't just making a purchase. You are signing a legally binding contract that literally mandates more forced labor in your future. You are taking your future free time and converting it instantly into indentured time. This dynamic perfectly maps out the ultimate middle-class trap. The income flows in and the arrow points straight down into expenses. You get paid, and the money instantly bypasses your asset column. It goes straight to the landlord, the bank, and the car company. They are the ones building wealth off of your labor. You've become a guaranteed revenue stream for them. You're effectively working from January all the way to May just to pay the government and your lenders. Now for Chapter 5, Income versus True Wealth. We really need to shatter a societal illusion here. Income is fleeting. It requires your active, finite time. Wealth, on the other hand, is permanent. It is made up of assets that generate leverage without your physical presence. Listen, a person making $300,000 a year who spends $290,000 is not wealthy. They are just high income and incredibly stressed out. A person with a $60,000 salary who has managed to build $50,000 in income-generating assets is fundamentally wealthier. Why? Because the gap between earning and spending is the only true metric of freedom. The wealthy operate on the exact opposite current. They direct their income straight up into the asset column. They prioritize buying or building assets. We're talking investments, equity, scalable media, long before they ever buy luxuries. And once the dollar goes into that asset column, it becomes your employee. It works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, completely independent of your time. Finally, Chapter 6, the mindset of freedom. The employee mindset prioritizes the illusion of stability. It predictably trades time for money, and it absolutely terrifies itself with the idea of risk. But the entrepreneur mindset, the investor mindset, it views time as the ultimate finite asset that has to be protected at all costs. It actively seeks leverage and embraces calculated risks to build equity. It's a massive psychological shift. You have to stop asking, how do I get a 4% raise, and start asking, how do I uncouple my input from my output? So how do we actually get out? Based on the sources we're breaking down in this explainer, here are the stark, practical steps for escaping the trap. First, uncouple your labor from your output by stepping into scalable professions. You need to build assets with zero marginal cost of reproduction, like code, media, or digital products, places where 1 hour of work can serve 10 people or 10 million people. Second, you have to reverse budget. Fund your asset column first before your expenses even see a dime. And finally, rigorously, ruthlessly reject societal lifestyle inflation. Stop trying to look rich with your sweat and blood and start actually becoming wealthy in the shadows. Which leaves us with this final, incredibly provocative reality. The system is a game you have been enrolled in without your consent. But staying in it? That is a choice. Your choice is between the comforting, predictable drip of a biweekly paycheck and the volatile but ultimate freedom of owning an asset. You can now see the system exactly for what it is. So the question is, are you going to keep playing their game, or are you going to start building your own?